And I think one of you said you had a different, that your doji was not, that it was above the 10 moving average. Is that correct? So let me know. You guys, this is what I had on both TradeStation and Extreme charts. Does anybody else see something differently? Zooming out, zooming in, beautiful. And then Greg's asking, what's a huge volume at the end on Boeing and Lockheed Martin? I saw that on everything today. So I don't know. This is one thing I wanted to find out. Let me see. Let me check something. Hang on 2 seconds here. I'm going to open up eSignal. Because I'm going to check. Sometimes you'll get, just an end of day, a bunch of buying or selling pressure. Other times, I've seen weird volume skews every once in a while on the very last candle of the day that doesn't necessarily equate to real volume, and I'm wondering if that might be some after-hours stuff coming in or something. So the best way I know how to check is just compare it to what we see on eSignal. Okay, so Scott's saying it has the same thing on eSignal at the end of the day, too. I noticed that on a lot of stocks. There we go. Bill says it's across all platforms. So thank you. All right, cool. eSignal is the same, but not extreme charts. Well, extreme charts won't be the same because that's a daily charting service, right? So you'll only have just one bar. So at the end of the day, you can see how high the volume was on extreme charts, and if it's different, I have no idea what to say because my extreme charts is not even working, so I can't even tell you, which is exactly why, yeah, I don't know. All right, so there we go. Let's see. With my eSignal, let's see the same thing here. Yeah, you can see the same thing on Lockheed. See that big spike at the end of the day. And look at eSignal on my daily chart Friday. There's the doji, the 10 moving average is right above Friday's doji. So if you're not seeing that, double check and make sure that you have a 10 exponential moving average here, okay? Because that might be some of the difference there. For the Thursday doji, so I mean, look at this. It's not really a doji. So this is Thursday, the candle body above the 10 moving average, and then this is Friday, the doji below. Well, it was Friday, as I was analyzing this information, that made me think at least about being open to the possibility that this sector may drop because of the fact that at that point, Lockheed Martin had made a lower high. So with this lower high, and it's tried 2 times. One here, it tried to bounce around that 10, and it failed. And then over here, it bounced and started bouncing up the 10, but it failed again. And it was Friday that we could tell that it failed. So Friday's doji completely underneath that 10 moving average is a new setup. And so where Judy's looking at this, we're saying, well, how do we know it was bearish? Again, you don't know for sure it's going to go down, but this makes it look a lot more bearish than the day before. And so then what this allows you to do is set up your trading parameters and say, hey, if it could rally above the 10, maybe at that point I'd be willing to buy calls. And she said she had her contingent order out there, right, and it didn't get triggered. But then also, if it drops below this doji, and it could be either the candle body or the low, and I had lines on both of those areas as potential put positions. So if it drops below either of those, you have a place to buy puts, because then it's Friday was your setup day. Today ended up being the confirmation day that, yeah, you're right, it isn't going to be able to break out above the 10 moving average. Yeah, and that's it. Judy said, yeah, it's a lower high. It closed above the 10, so it closed above the 10 on Thursday. So, and it was still trying to go up. It's Friday that it closed below the 10, but that's where it started to look bearish. And that's where you could set up, hey, it could go either direction, but it completely failed to make a higher high, and we have a close below the 10 moving average. So that was the setup to be ready to buy puts today. And you add to that, remember, Boeing in the same sector, Boeing is even more bearish. So we take away what happened today, and this was Boeing. They'd already broken down underneath their moving averages, right? And it had retraced up to the 10 moving average. It hit that as resistance. And today, bearish engulfing candle. In fact, this was even this is a phenomenal entry because it gaps up and fails even in the first 5 minutes. It could not stay above the moving averages. So there you got a bearish entry into that Boeing trade on that breakdown. So on the 25th, back to Lockheed Martin, we're talking over here. So could you have entered a call position here on the 25th based on this? So a rally, a retracement, possibly if it goes higher, there is a chance that could have triggered your bullish entry. And so at that point, you just have to know it's trying, it looks bullish, it's trying to go higher. You decide where you want your stops, no lower than the 10 moving average, and maybe even sometimes off of the beginning of a trade on a rising 3. If that 10 moving average is too far away, you go with the close that day. So either one of those two, and then the next day, obviously you'd be stopped out. And then you see, okay, it tried to rally, it couldn't, now it looks more bearish, and that would set you up to buy the puts today, which would give you, will put you in a position that you are offsetting, even if you did the bullish part of the trade last week, you take a little loss there, you're making more money here on the downside. Let's see, Lockheed on the 25th, maybe not getting it, yeah, because it didn't, yeah, it came up close to those wicks, so it depends on the time of day that it broke out. Yes, but good questions, because it is important to go through and check out these patterns and see, how this stuff is shaping up. So let's do this. I'm going to switch back over to TradeStation, and let's just work through this and build a watch list of stocks. And I've still got to figure out how I'm going to build the watch list of stocks. So just write the ticker symbols down for now. But the scans that you guys have seen me use, of course, quite often, and that momentum today,